Welcome back to Full Sport Press. I'm Peyton.
I am Zac.
And let's just go ahead and get it rolling and start off with our what we saw. So my what we saw is coming from the PLL. Over the weekend, the last game of the week came with the Cannons and Redwoods, and it's probably the game of the season so far. It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then they end up going to overtime, and that Denver crowd was just going insane. It was. I was in bed already because it was like midnight at this point. But I was watching it, and they were just every shot the crowd would go crazy because it was like, is it going to go in? Because the overtime is sudden death, so first goal, and it was just back and forth, and that one team would miss, the other team would go down, get super close, miss. And it was just a crazy get finish to the game. And altogether, a great game. And the Redwoods end up pulling it out against the Cannons. Big win for them. And, yeah, just an all-around great lacrosse game.
Nice. Overtime games are fun.
They are.
Alrighty. So what we saw is the MVP battle in the WNBA is still ongoing. I think I talked about it on this podcast a little while ago. But we have another entry into the battle, if you want to call it. The two front runners for MVP, if you don't know, are A'ja Wilson at number 1. Not according to the odds, but in my mind and everyone else's mind. Sorry. And Breanna Stewart is right behind her. So both of these players this weekend decided they wanted to have 40-point games. So A'ja Wilson on Friday scored 40, which was a new career high for her. She did this against the Washington Mystics. She had 40 points, 12 rebounds, and she shot 68%, 17 for 25 from the field. And then you go to Stewie. She, on Sunday, had 42 points. She has now set a record with that for the most 40-point games in a single season in the WNBA. She has 3 now, I think, and still over 10 games to go. But she did this with 42 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 blocks, 3 steals. She shot 65% from the field, 15 for 23, and then 50% from 3, 5 for 10. So coming up here soon when the MVP voting starts, I think it's going to be a tight race. It might be like points that separate these two, and we'll see who is going to win. Hopefully we have a back-to-back A'ja MVP, but we'll see how it goes.
All right, moving on to our game of the week. Do you want to go ahead and just pop right into yours since it has to do with one of your MVP candidates?
That is a beautiful segue, Peyton, and I would love to. So Breanna Stewart, one thing that I did want to leave out a minute ago was that she did all this Sunday against the Fever. So that was, I think I told you my game of the week was Storm Mercury. I decided to scrap that because I didn't even watch it. And I didn't watch a lot. I didn't watch much of anything this week, but I did go to this game and I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about this one. So that's what I decided to do. Went a little haywire, but we're here. So yeah, we had 17 points, 9 rebounds, almost a double-double from Leah Boston. 5 assists for her. Still amazing efficiency. She shot 70%. And then we had 22 points from Kelsey Mitchell, 4 for 6 from 3. Where's my other? There we go. 21 points from Erica Wheeler, and then 15 points and 9 rebounds from Nalissa Smith, who is finally back. She came back, I want to say last weekend. She's not starting again yet. She's coming off the bench. But every game she's been back in, you can see the difference of the offense. And it hasn't turned into much. We got 1 win last week, so that was nice. But as far as that turning into wins, it hasn't because we have other holes. But you can still see when we're playing teams now, they're worried because they don't have just Aaliyah to worry about. They also have Nalissa Smith who can do anything she wants in the paint. So it's amazing to see. Of course, on the New York side, the only player that really did anything was Breanna Stewart. She had the above stat line that I said. I believe Sabrina had 12 points. JJ had 15, but nothing crazy. So it was really the Stewie show in Indy, sadly.
All right, and then moving on to my game of the week, which was Chelsea versus Liverpool. It ended up being a 1-1 tie. Liverpool opened the scoring with a great goal by Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
And we almost had to, in my opinion, it was not offsides, but they called it offside, so they took it back. And then Liverpool were pretty much controlling the game up to about the 30th minute, and then Chelsea kind of started to control the game for the rest of the half, and that's when they answered back and got their goal to make it 1-1, and that is where it ended there, 1-1. Axel Diassi was the scorer for Chelsea. And both teams had chances in the second half. No one could bury one. And I think, honestly, for both of these teams, I think they'll both just take the point and be happy with it. It could have gone either way. But at least it wasn't 0-0 like the last 4 times Chelsea and Liverpool played. At least we did have 2 goals. So, yeah. And Chelsea also had a goal taken back by offsides. So both at one point, both teams were leading, but it was taken off by VAR. So sadly, Liverpool and Chelsea ends in a draw. And just kind of, why don't we just jump into the PLL and get started with our sports. Now, PLL, I already talked about last game of the week, so we'll just kind of skip over that. But to start the weekend, we had the Whip Snakes continuing their winning streak. I think that they had been struggling coming into 3 weeks ago, and they've won the past 3 games to improve themselves to 4-4. They've taken down the Chaos 12-10. It was a back and forth game, but in the end, Whip Snakes pull out the win, and it's a big one for them. I mean, they're slowly making their way into the top half of the standings, so it'll be interesting to see where they end up finishing after that 1-4 start. And then moving on to the second game of Friday night. This one I did fall asleep in the middle of, I won't lie, because it was 12:31 at that point, and it was a blowout. Archers destroyed the Chrome 13-5. Chrome I feel like they're in the running for worst PLL team of all time. They are quite literally just horrible. 5 goals this week. They scored 5 goals last week. I mean, it's just the offense on the Chrome is just horrid. And they got to figure something out at this point. Luckily, though, if they do get the number 1 pick, they will be able to draft Brennan O'Neill from Duke, who, if you remember, was the guy who stood out in the Team USA gold medal match. So at least the Chrome have that to look forward to next season. Now, moving on to Saturday's game, we had the Atlas versus the Water Dogs. Once again, another close game for the Atlas. They just can't finish it off. Trevor Baptiste won pretty much every face-off he took. He went 23 for 28. And Atlas played good, but then in the fourth quarter, Water Dogs pull away, end up winning 14-11, and the Atlas moved to 2-6, which is really not great. They would currently make the playoffs because the Chrome are that bad, but they could have really solidified their playoff chances with a win here. Not yet, though. And then, like I already talked about, Redwoods beat the Cannons in overtime. Huge win for the Redwoods. Cannons kind of slow off their hot streak, 5 straight, but still played great, only losing by 1 in overtime. Now, in the upcoming week, they will be headed to Seattle, so sadly, it'll be a bunch more late nights for me on the weekend because the second games and both nights don't start till 11:30 and 10:30. But we have some great matchups. I'll save my I think I have a game of the week no, I don't. All right. So my game of the week for PLL this week is going to be the Archers versus the Whip Snakes. Archers, who are 7-1, top team in the league, and the Whip Snakes, who are on a 3-game win streak. It should be a great one. It'll be Friday night, 9 o'clock on ESPN2 in Seattle. Should be a great game. That's my game of the week for the PLL. All right, moving on to soccer. We'll just make a quick note of the League Cup semifinals that will be happening. Charlotte, sadly, was destroyed by Messi and his gang. They just absolutely annihilated 4-0. Wasn't much to watch, sadly. Charlotte was really bad. So the semifinals, we have Philadelphia versus Miami and Monterrey versus Nashville. These will be on Tuesday night, so tomorrow night on the MLS Season Pass. I'll talk about one of those a little bit later again. But so those are your semifinals for the Leagues Cup. Mbappe officially seems to be staying at PSG. He was in the like undesirable is what they called it, the undesirable camp, where he practiced with the people they knew they were going to get rid of. And then this week I think today, they welcomed him back to training, and he will be staying there this season. So bunch of nothing there. And then we have the Premier League that is officially back. Some kind of highlights from the weekend. Man City gets the first win of the season, of course, because how else would it go? They beat Burnley 3-0 on Friday.
Next.
And then on Saturday, we had Newcastle just absolutely destroy Aston Villa, who was a good squad last year. They beat them 5-1. It was just an absolute takedown. Probably my most impressive performance of the weekend by any Premier League team. And then other than that, Brighton had a big win over Luton Town, so not a great start to the year for Luton. And then on Sunday, we had Brentford and Tottenham. This was Tottenham's first match without Harry Kane. He had just been sold to Bayern at this point. So it was a little question of, do they have people that can – Richarlison, who was their backup, would he be able to come in and replace Harry Kane? They end up tying Brentford 2-2. And James Maddison, one of their other new rivals, got man of the match. So honestly, not bad considering that's their first one without Harry Kane. They have a new manager, and they end up tying 2-2 against Brentford. And then, game that just ended a few minutes ago, Manchester United pull off the win against Wolverhampton, 1-0. And let me just say, Wolverhampton got robbed because there was an obvious penalty at the end, but Manchester United gets the referees on their side because that's just how it works. Yeah. So to kind of wrap it up, the big teams, Manchester United get a win, Arsenal get a win, Newcastle get a win, Man City get a win, and then Chelsea, Liverpool, and Tottenham all with draws in the first weekend. All right, Zach, WNBA.
Thank you.
Actually, hold that thought. I forgot to say my match of the week for just the Premier League. My match of the week will be Manchester City versus Newcastle, Saturday, 3 p.m. Should be a great one, honestly. And that'll be on NBC Sport, probably either Peacock or USA Network.
Nice. Alrighty. Well, I don't have a lot to talk about with WNBA. I think I only watched 2 games this week. I watched the Fevers game on Friday and the Fevers game on Sunday. So we are going to look at the standings because, the Liberty have officially clinched the playoffs. They are team number 2 to do it. Obviously, number 1 is the Aces, but the Liberty now have done it. They are 24-6 in second place. They're pretty securely there right now. The Sun are right behind them at number 3 at 21-9. And then looking on down the list, you got Wings at 4, Dream at 5, Lynx at 6, and then 7 and 8 are the Mystics and Sky. Finally, the Fever are officially in last place. We are 8-23, and the 2 teams above us both have 9 wins. So good for the Caitlin Clark sweepstakes. If she comes out, we're going to pray that she does. And yeah, that's literally all I have for the WNBA. But speaking of Caitlin Clark, let's throw at the women's college basketball real quick. So 2 things, because they're both pretty interesting. One, I just want to go ahead and shout it out real quick. Iowa's women's basketball team, they have already sold out of their season tickets for the entire season. So they're going to have at least 15,000 people in whatever their arena is called. And they're going to have 15,000 in Hawkeye Arena over there at Iowa for every game. So that is amazing because we are still, August? 3.5 months away from the season, from college basketball starting. Starts November, doesn't it? Yeah. So we're about 2.5, 3 months away from the season starting. So that's a pretty big deal. On top of that, they announced that they are going to play a game against DePaul next year. And they're going to be doing this inside Iowa's football stadium. So the Iowa women's basketball team are going to play versus DePaul in Kinnick Stadium. And the reason they're doing this is they are trying to break the current record of an outdoor exhibition, which is set at 29,619 people. In Kinnick, I think the goal, obviously, you love to see it. The goal they're trying to get is 69,000. How could you not? And then with this little record that's already set, I'm not sure. I'm really confused about it because so it says that the record is 29,619 people, and it was set at the 2002 national championship between UConn and Oklahoma, which was played in the Alamo Dome. I'm very confused because I looked up pictures of the Alamo Dome, and I'm like, there's definitely a roof on there. So I'm not sure how it counts for an outdoor event unless maybe that roof opens.
Yeah, maybe.
But
that's weird.
Let me read this again. Yeah. Iowa will face DePaul at the 69,000 seat Kinnick Stadium in an outdoor exhibition with the hopes of breaking the current record 29,619 set in 2002. So, unless it's something else. But yeah. It's going to be pretty cool if they do it, honestly.
All right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm never really a person who likes, like with the Final Four national championship, those always happen in like big NFL stadiums. And I'm like, if you can afford a seat down in the lower bowl, sure. But if you're at the top, you just can't see anything. So I imagine it's probably going to be about the same for Kinnick Stadium, a little bit smaller. But hey, if they do it, that's going to be pretty awesome. 69,000 people at a college women's basketball game in a football stadium. Like, yeah, come on. I don't know how far Iowa, I think they're Iowa City. I don't know how far they are from me, but I would go if I could. Let's see. How far is Iowa City? Yeah. Oh, 5.5 hours. It's probably not going to happen, but it could. All right. You want to do NFL or college football first? One's going to take longer.
Let's just talk about NFL. Yeah. Get it? Not really much to say. Preseason has started up in full swing. Honestly, I'm already tired of seeing the overreactions on X. Yeah. The amount of stuff I've seen about Justin Fields winning an MVP or Panthers going 0-17. Yep. I've already seen enough. So we're not even going to discuss preseason because, not worth it. And until Bryce Young makes an amazing throw that I need to talk about, I will wait to talk about preseason. So our big, not really big, but news to kind of hit on that just happened. Zeke is signing with the Patriots, 1 year, $6 million. And my opinion doesn't make too much sense as far as they do have Ramondre Stevenson. Maybe it does make sense just to have a backup, but as far as will he start, probably not. I know Ramondre was pretty successful last season, had a good year. So I'd be surprised if he was a starter. And as far as fantasy, that is a huge blow to just kind of add an extra person in the Patriots backfield, already knowing how Belichick is with the running backs. Yeah, I don't feel good about it fantasy-wise.
I mean, yeah, you never want a Patriots running back. My thing with it was the Patriots are a very non-shenanigans team. And Ezekiel Elliott, he's been known to enjoy his shenanigans from time to time. So I'm interested to see how how it goes with him and Belichick. It's going to be fun to see. Yeah.
I mean, which I guess there's been players like that go there before. Antonio Brown, best example.
Does that one count? So, how long was he there? How many games did he play?
I don't know, but not too long. But still,
Randy Moss, I guess, was he was a little out there, wasn't he?
Yeah. So I mean, there's been kind of circumstances of it, but Aaron Hernandez, one might say. So there's been people that have been like not great that have gone to the Patriots, but Zeke's not like a problem like that.
He jumps into Salvation Army buckets and things like that.
Yeah.
Fun shenanigans, not the bad ones.
Yeah.
Now moving on to the football that actually matters, college football. The AP poll for the preseason came out today, and I just want to take a look at it. Honestly, nothing too different from the coaches poll. There are a few inconsistencies. Had to think of that word. But I'll read them off in a second. First of all, obviously, Georgia is number one with 60 first place votes. So 60 out of 63. So, yeah. Michigan's number two. They got 2 first place votes. And then here is our first discrepancy. In the AP poll, Ohio State is number 3 with 1 first place vote. But then you go to look at the coaches poll, they have Alabama there. And then number 4 for the AP poll is Alabama. Number 4 for the coaches poll is OSU. So just looking at that, top 4 is it's the same 4. They just have 3 and 4 switched. Any thoughts there? Agreed? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's I feel like that's just the guaranteed 4 that's going to be in there right now.
Alrighty.
I still am a little shocked Ohio State is so high just because quarterback situation is not. Well, I guess the same thing with Alabama, to be fair, and Georgia. Yeah, I guess I'll just figure it out. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And then looking at 5 through 10, we've got LSU, USC, Penn State, Florida State, Clemson, and Washington. I think the only thing different here is, they have Washington. The AP poll has Washington in the top 10, where in the coaches poll, they're number 11, and they have Tennessee at number 10. So, yeah, I still don't understand how LSU is this high.
I know. That is shocking to me. Like, I guess they were kind of on the edge last year of the playoffs until they got that. I can't remember who they lost to. They lost to someone that kind of
wasn't it A&M? I think it was A&M. I feel like it was.
Maybe, yeah. And I don't know if I'm ready to say they're top 5. That's pretty drastic. Which I guess Brian Kelly.
Yeah, and they still have their quarterback, don't they? Was it Jaden Daniels, McDaniels?
Jaden Daniels, yeah. Jaden Daniels.
Alrighty, and I don't think there's really. I don't want to read the rest of these. Is there anybody in here?
Tulane, number 24.
Yeah, they're 23 in the coaches poll. So I don't know.
Is Tulane good?
Somehow A&M is number 23 in the AP poll. I don't understand how they're still getting ranked. Yeah, nothing else is really that different, which they're usually not at the beginning, or they're usually not that different anyway. Yeah. I think the most you're going to see is like 3 spots or something. And then looking at people receiving votes, first is Texas Tech at 101, then right behind them, so ranked number 27th, South Carolina with 73 votes. And then who was the one? Oh, Florida. So Florida was in 3rd. Receiving votes for the coaches poll, and here they're in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13. They're in 17th receiving votes here, only getting 4 votes. Wow. Where in the coaches poll they got 63. I don't know about that one. I don't understand what we're seeing on Florida. But yeah. I guess the AP poll doesn't see it, which, good.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Well, let's take it to the game of the week.
Game of the week. Like I said earlier, I would come back to one of the League Cup semifinals, and you know who it has to be. He's must-watch television at this point, and that is Messi and Miami versus Philadelphia Union. It'll be Tuesday night, 7 o'clock on the MLS Season Pass. Honestly, I mean, he is just you got to watch it to understand the way he just impacts the game and makes Miami like so much better. They were literally the worst team in the MLS, and they're in the semifinals of this tournament. It's crazy to see. And, it'll be a great game.
Nice. Alrighty. So my game of the week is actually the Commissioner's Cup for the WNBA. So this game is going to be tomorrow night, Tuesday, at 9 o'clock on Prime Video. It's the only game tomorrow, so it's the only one you got to worry about. but it is between the Aces and the Liberty. We get another matchup between those two, which, even though the first two have been a blowout for one side and a blowout for the other, I guess this one is destined to be a blowout for either side, or it could be a really good game. I guess we'll just have to tune in and see. The Commissioner's Cup, though, whichever team wins this, they get a $500,000 prize pool, and all of that goes to the players and a donation to a charity that the organization supports. So, yeah, if the Aces win this, hopefully they do, obviously, for my sake, the players on the team will split the $500,000 and then donate some to charity. So, yeah, it's always fun. I think this is the second or third year they've done it, and it's been a success the other time. So, hopefully, finally, we will get the matchup we've been, I don't know, expecting and waiting for with the Liberty and Aces. And if we don't, it's going to be game of the week next time again, too. So you're just going to have to watch it then. Anyway. All right. Any last thoughts?
That wraps it up for me.
That's all from Full Sport Press.